Hello everyone, my name is Lucy Young and welcome back to another LWX weather forecast, where today we are not going to be talking about the tropics, but we are going to be talking about more severe weather heading towards the plains as we are starting to get into that second tornado season. So let's get right into it. Looking at this map from the National Weather Service, as you can see, we do have that enhanced risk for severe weather in parts of the Central Plains towards the Midwest. That is a level 3 out of 5 risk, one of the more significant risks we've seen in the wild, as the severe weather has been a bit quiet. This enhanced risk does include parts of Kansas City, Wichita, and almost all the way down to Tulsa. And then we do have that level 2 out of 5, that slight risk surrounding it, that yellow circle around the enhanced risk, and then that darker green is that marginal risk, that level 1 out of 5. And taking a closer look at this enhanced risk, again, parts of Kansas City and almost all the way to Wichita is included in parts of this enhanced risk. Almost all the way down to Tulsa, and parts of that slight risk does include parts of Oklahoma City, almost all the way towards Salina, Kansas, Fayetteville, Springfield, and that level 1 out of 5 risk does include parts of Little Rock, Salina, and all the way over to the St. Louis area as well. Looking at this damaging wind risk, we do have that 30% chance for damaging winds, really right where that enhanced risk was. You can see that does include parts of Kansas City, almost all the way to Wichita again, and almost all the way down to Tulsa. That yellow is that 15% chance for damaging wind gusts, and then that brown is that 5% chance for damaging wind gusts. Again, zooming in, as you can see, parts of Kansas City, almost all the way to Wichita. Again, it really just depends what part of Wichita you live in. And again, down in Tulsa, just depends which part you live in. But that is that 30% chance of damaging wind gusts. That yellow is that 15% chance of damaging wind gusts, which does include parts of Oklahoma City, Fayetteville, Springfield, and Salina. And then that 5% risk for damaging wind gusts does include parts of Little Rock in the St. Louis area. Taking a bigger look at this hail risk is definitely not that big, but just something to keep your eye on is the lesser threats that we have. But in that 15% chance for damaging hail, we do have that yellow risk, that 15%, as I said, does include parts of Kansas City, Oklahoma City, all the way down to Dallas, Texas. And then that 5%, that very large risk, goes all the way up to Des Moines, Iowa, all the way down to Waco, and almost all the way to Austin, Texas. It really just is quite a wide and big threat, but not a very significant one. Again, zooming in for this hail threat, as you can see, parts of Kansas City, Springfield, Fayetteville, Tulsa, Oklahoma City, and Wichita are all in that 15% chance for some damaging hail. And then parts of Salina and Little Rock are in that 5% chance for damaging hail as well. But that is definitely, again, not a very significant risk at all. One of the bigger risks that we've seen in a while is that tornado risk. Looking at that hatched risk from the National Weather Service, you could see that that is a 10% hatched risk for tornadoes. So that means there's a 10% chance of an EF2 tornado or greater that is possible. I would not be surprised if we see at least a couple strong tornadoes tomorrow. Just really depends on what this weather setup will do. But again, Kansas City is just outside that hatched risk, but is in that 10% risk for tornadoes. Wichita is barely in that 5%, but is really close to that 10%. So definitely keep your eye on the sky if you're in parts of Wichita. Down in Tulsa is that 5%, that brown risk. Again, all the way down to Dallas, Texas, we do have that 5% chance for tornadoes. And then that 2% risk is a very large one as well, all the way up to Des Moines, all the way down to almost Waco, Texas, and over east towards the St. Louis area. Zooming in, taking a closer look, parts of Kansas City is in that 10% risk for tornadoes, not the hatched risk, just to make that clear. Parts of Tulsa is barely in that 10% or 5%. Again, it just depends on where you live. Parts of Salina is in that 2%, Springfield is in that 5%, Fayetteville is in that 5%, and Little Rock is just barely squeezing by in that 2%. And we're gonna definitely be staying safe, staying weather aware if you are in this tornado and severe weather risk going into tomorrow. Again, this is for tomorrow, not today, not the Halloween, but for tomorrow. But we are going to be transitioning, talking about our Halloween forecast. Looking at this map of the United States, parts of the West Coast will be experiencing that rain spanning from Michigan down to Texas, including Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, and Kentucky and Indiana will all be feeling kind of a rainy, dreary Halloween. But then in parts of Wisconsin and Michigan, you could be experiencing a pretty cold Halloween, even with that chance for snow, and that is the same on parts of the West Coast where some snow could be possible. But then in parts of western Wisconsin, you could be experiencing kind of a really dreary mix of rain and snow. So definitely be bundled up if you're going out trick-or-treating. Looking at the temperature outlook, in parts of the south, you can expect up to 60 degrees or even greater temperatures. So really just enjoy those nice warm temperatures. In the white area that I left white, that has no color, I would just say this is like the average per year. Over on the west coast, all the way to the northeast, you can expect temperatures from anywhere from 35 degrees to around 60 degrees or so. Looking at this lighter blue, that really takes up parts of the central and northern U.S., those temperatures will be around 34 degrees or below, so definitely bundle up if you are going outside. But I hope you all are enjoying this cooler fall weather before the severe weather returns. Stay safe, stay weather aware, and have a great Halloween.